You know that feeling when something just feels off? You're not really sick, but you're definitely not 100%? Well, your body has this amazing way of sending out these little signals when its internal balance is disturbed. And one of the most important balancing acts of all, it's run by your thyroid. Today, we're going to learn how to decode those signals. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get to know the thyroid as the body's master regulator. Then we'll look at what happens when that engine starts to slow down. After that, we'll check out the subtle outward signs. And finally, we'll talk about how to put all the pieces together to see the full picture. Okay, let's dive right into part 1, getting acquainted with the command center for your body's energy. So right there at the base of your neck, you've got this small but incredibly powerful gland. And the wild thing is, its hormones literally affect every single cell in your body. Think about that. It's the central command that's telling your body how fast to burn fuel, how to control your internal thermostat, and even how fast your heart should beat. I love this quote from the Journal of Medical Screening because it just nails it. A rheostat. It's basically a dimmer switch, right? Well, your thyroid is the dimmer switch for your entire body's energy. It can crank your metabolism up, making you feel full of life and warm, or it can dial it way, way down. So that brings us to section 2. What actually happens when that dimmer switch, that energy rheostat, starts to get turned down? And that's pretty much the definition of hypothyroidism. It's not like someone flips a switch and everything just shuts off. No, it's a gradual, slow turning down of that energy dial. And the key word there is slowly. We're often talking over the course of years, which is exactly why those first signs are so easy to brush off as, just stress or getting older. This leads us to a really important distinction: everyday tiredness versus hormonal fatigue. Look, we all get tired. A long day, a bad night's sleep, you get it. But the fatigue that comes with hypothyroidism is something else entirely. It's this deep, bone-deep exhaustion that a good night's sleep just doesn't touch. It's your body's cells literally running on low power mode because the master switch has been dialed down. And this also explains another one of those classic early signs: feeling cold all the time, even when everyone else is fine. It's a two-part thing, really. First, your slowed down metabolism is literally producing less heat. And at the same time, your body tries to conserve what little heat it has by constricting blood vessels, which is why your hands and feet can feel like blocks of ice. Okay, so we've talked about those internal feelings of fatigue and cold, but the body also starts showing more visible outward signs. So for section 3, let's explore what to actually look for. As the whole system slows, everything else kind of follows suit. Your digestion can get sluggish, leading to constipation. Your heart rate can actually slow down. And because your body isn't burning calories as efficiently, you might notice some unexplained weight gain, which, interestingly, is often from water retention. That puffy face you sometimes see, it's another sign of that fluid shift. Your skin, hair, and nails are also huge indicators because they rely on constant cell regeneration. When your metabolism slows down, your skin can't replenish itself as quickly, which leads to dryness. Hair can get brittle and thin out. And here's a very specific clue that doctors look for: a thinning of the outer third of the eyebrows. Now let's touch on one of the most frustrating symptoms of all: brain fog. And this isn't just you feeling a bit out of it. It's a real, recognized symptom complex. The major thyroid associations even define it as mental cloudiness or lack of mental alertness. So, what does that actually feel like? Well, your brain is the most energy-hungry organ in your body, right? So, when that energy rheostat gets turned down, your brain feels it first. This can show up as frustrating forgetfulness or an inability to concentrate on a task. And it's that maddening feeling of struggling to find a word that's right on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't grab it. So, if you've got all these potential signs floating around, why is hypothyroidism so often missed? That brings us to our final section: how to decode what the body is trying to tell us. And this right here reveals a really frustrating reality for a lot of people. Even among those who are actively being treated for hypothyroidism, a solid 10 to 15% still struggle with symptoms like brain fog, even when their lab tests come back looking perfectly normal. This just shows that there can be a huge disconnect between the numbers on a page and a person's actual quality of life. Which, of course, leads to the million-dollar question: why are these signals so darn hard to piece together? Well, there are a few reasons, and it's kind of the perfect storm. First, as we've said, the symptoms creep up on you incredibly slowly. Second, they're so nonspecific. I mean, feeling tired, gaining weight, having dry skin, we can easily blame all of that on stress or just getting older. And then there's this interesting psychological factor called diagnostic labeling, where just knowing you have a condition can actually make you more aware of and more likely to report the symptoms. So, how do doctors actually detect it? The number one tool is a blood test for something called TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone. One medical journal calls it the canary in the coal mine, which is a perfect analogy. Basically, your brain's pituitary gland sends out TSH to tell the thyroid to get to work. If the thyroid is slacking, the pituitary starts shouting louder and louder, and those TSH levels rise. That makes it the earliest, most sensitive warning sign we have. So the real takeaway here is this. The signs of an underactive thyroid, they usually don't shout, they whisper. It's a little more fatigue than usual, feeling a bit colder, small changes in your skin or hair, your mind feeling a little foggier. These are the quiet signals of a hidden imbalance in your body's most fundamental energy system. Your body is always communicating with you. The real question is, are you listening?